everyone, my name is Rafal and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today I've decided to switch the gears a little bit and talk about something which bothers me for quite a bit, and I think today is just the right moment to talk about it. And lately I've been seeing so many different videos and so many articles and posts where photographers share their knowledge, and I really appreciated that they do that because this is extremely important. But what's becoming kind of trendy, and this is something what I don't really understand, they're creating a content with statements such as, this is the best lighting for headshot photography, this is the best lens for headshot photography, or this is the best settings to create headshot. And I think this is just total rubbish, and this is completely nonsense. And why I'm even saying this? Because what I deeply believe is, in order to create specific image, it's a process. And just because someone tells you, oh, this is the best lighting, you have to have also other elements put together properly to get the image. Let me give you some analogy. So let's say someone tells you, hey, this is the best oven to do cheesecake. So just because you have the best oven doesn't mean you're going to be able to do the best or good cheesecake, because you need all the ingredients, you need some other things which you have to put together properly to get the results. And I deeply believe that the same thing applies to photography. Just because someone tells you one little information or fraction of the information which you need to create something bigger, it's not going to do any good for you. It's just going to make you more confused, and it's going to just kind of make this whole thing even difficult. And I remember back in the days when I started shooting, I was always kind of focusing on one thing. First of all, I was focusing on the gear, because I've been seeing all these commercials and all these advertisers saying, oh, if you buy this lens, this is what you're gonna get. And they're pretty good at it, because they show you a lens, then they show you some fantastic image, and you deeply believe that if you get this lens, you're gonna get this particular image or similar image, which is not true, because you have to have pretty much this whole thing figured out, and you have to put this whole thing together to make this work. And this is what I want to talk about it, and I'm going to share with you how to look at creating images from completely different perspective. And what I've done, and I've learned this over the years, and this is something which I deeply believe this is going to be one of the most valuable informations for photographers, and especially if you're watching this and you are at the beginning of this journey, please take this seriously, and I can guarantee you that your photography will elevate within much quicker time, because this is going to give you some specific tool how to look at your work and analyze it properly to create great images. Okay, so let's go back to what I was breaking this entire process to smaller components. So I've divided my headshot photography process to 7 elements, and if you look at those elements individually, you can definitely analyze your work from completely different perspective, and it's going to give you much more deeper understanding where you're lacking of doing things properly, and which things you're good at it, so you don't have to really worry about it. So let's look at those components. So there's 7 components. The component number 1 is gear. The component number 2 is lighting. The component number 3 is setting. The component number 4 is subject presence. The component number 5 is posing. Component number 6 is face expression, and component number 7 is retouching. So let's briefly look at all those components in a little bit of a different angle, and then we're going to kind of jump into this whole conclusion. So before I jump into my headshot photography session, I have to look at each of those components separately. So let's start with gear. So I need specific gear, I need specific lens, I need specific all this equipment to make this happen. So that's the first step. If you, let's say, lacking of specific gear, or you're lacking of specific, I would say, equipment, then of course you need to kind of put this together to make this work. So if you have issues with your gear and you're not getting the results, you have to look at this deeper and analyze what equipment you need and what's going to make the shot. The element number 2 is lighting. So there is different types of lighting out there. You can do 1 lighting setup, you can 2 lighting setup, you can do 3 lighting setup, you can do Rembrandt lighting, you can do flat lighting, whatever works best for you. But in order to get specific results, you need to pick one and basically stick to it and work with it. Of course, you can mix that throughout a photo shoot, but you need to know which lighting you're going to use to get the results you're looking for. The component number 3 is setting. So in order to make this whole thing work together, you need to have the proper settings. And if something doesn't go well, that means that, well, I have to adjust my settings and I have to somehow kind of put this whole thing together so this whole thing is gonna work. And there is like camera settings, there is lighting settings, so you need to figure this whole thing out somehow so this whole thing has some kind of balance and you're getting the results you're looking for. The component number 4 is subject presence. And I'm talking about the wardrobe, I'm talking about the makeup, I'm talking about the hairstyle. This is something also extremely important because this is going to bring your image to the next level. And again, you can have the best lighting, you might have the best camera, but if the subject comes in, it's not prepared for the shoot, of course you're not going to get the results. So you have to also look at this separately. The next element is of course posing. I'm not going to go deeper into this, but this is something also we need to look at. If you have your subject at the front of the camera, you need to work with them. You have to make them look engaging. You need to create some kind of flow to their body language. If you don't know how to do it, there's other videos which I've created, which you can look up. Also, there's tons of amazing books about body language, and you can just dive into it and you can really easily learn those things. The component number 6 is face expression. Again, something extremely important, something which gonna just bring some amazing feel to the image. It's gonna create something unique about your subject. It's going to create this engagement with the viewer. Face expressions, I'm not saying is the most important thing, but it's one of those elements which needs to be done properly to make this image work. And the element number 7, of course, is retouching. And retouching, in my opinion, is some kind of the final sugar coating on your cheesecake. This is something which glues this whole thing together, and you can just fix all those little perks which they don't kind of work throughout a photo shoot, and you polish the image to the final look. And this is something what, again, brings this image together. It's gonna give you this final look for the image you're trying to achieve. Okay, so let's summarize this whole thing and let's kind of look at this whole thing together. So for many years, and I'm also part of, I don't want to say the problem, but I also went through that process that I have to learn this. And what was happening, I was focusing on one thing because I've seen some amazing advertising from, you know, other photographers. Oh, if you buy this lens, this is the images you're gonna get. Or if you're gonna use this lighting, this is what you're gonna get. And I've seen these amazing images and I started shooting and there was nothing even close what I was getting. And the reason was I didn't look at those other elements so this whole thing could work together. So from now on, what I'm going to ask you to do, and if you're starting off or you're a professional photographer or you have some kind of issues with your work, try to break down your entire process to those smaller 7 elements and look at them individually. And I know I'm repeating myself, I'm talking again about the same thing, but what I'm trying to say is that if you look individually at each element and you can analyze it, you can just dive deep into those elements and see if there is some issues or there's some problems or there's some things which needs to be fixed, then all of a sudden you can really take your photography to another level because you can work on those elements individually and you will see your your work is going to start getting better, because you're not going to be just focusing on one thing. Because if you think that just the lens do the image and you can just avoid the rest of it, of course you're going to be struggling for years and years to come, because you're going to be ignoring other things which are extremely important to make the image work. And that's why I'm kind of frustrated with the message a lot of those photographers they're sending out, that they don't try to break those things to smaller components and also show the entire picture. So that's why I want to create this video, and hopefully this video will help you to look at your own work from completely different perspective. Because as soon as you start analyzing those images differently, and you can just kind of pick that, for example, hey, I know how to do the lighting, I know what equipment I need, I know how to pose my subjects, but my retouching sucks, then okay, I need to work on it and I need to get better, or I need to outsource my images to someone who knows how to do it. So you're trying to find a solution, how to fix the problem, and then you're going to be golden. You're going to know how to create images, and as soon as you start doing this, you will see right away that your photography is going to start elevating and the quality going to go really, really high. And I'm sorry to say that, but it took me a decade to figure that out. And now I'm going to try to share those information even more, and basically just tell you how to look at certain things from completely different perspective, so you can really quickly get better at what you're doing. Okay, I hope that was interesting. I could go on and on and about it, but I deeply believe that this is just the core of creating images, and you can apply this to any other type of photography. You're creating landscape, you're doing portraits, you're doing weddings. You have to break this entire process to smaller elements and analyze them individually and fix those issues which you're facing, or you really see that, oh, you know, this element is not good enough, or I didn't put too much attention, or I didn't do it the right way. Focus on it, fix the problems, and start gluing this whole thing together. I'm gonna stop here. I know, kind of passionate about it, but it's something which been frustrating for me, and I've seen this all over the place, and I've seen all these crazy comments, people arguing about different type of lightings. They fight over different types of lenses, what is better, what is worse, which one you should buy. It's all nonsense. You have to start looking at this whole thing from completely different way, and then don't kind of fight over something which actually means nothing. Because again, going back to our cheesecake, you need to have this whole thing done right. You need to have the proper oven, you have to have the proper temperature, you have to have the fresh ingredients, you have to mix them together, you have to follow the recipe. And even you can make this whole thing the right way, it still might not work. So this is something to kind of also think about it. So, you know, those things also takes time and practice, and then you can really kind of see things again from much broader perspective, and you can just really make things work. Okay. Thank you for watching. If you guys are gonna have any other questions, or you guys gonna have any concerns, or you don't agree what I have said, please feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, send me a message, reach out on social media. And again, thank you for watching. I hope that it was interesting, and I hope that helped you guys to get better at your skills and better at photography. So stay tuned. I will chat with you guys very soon. Bye-bye.